Most people think lighting incense is always a good thing, as if any smoke rising means peace is coming. But what if the very act meant to invite blessings is the one silently pushing them away? Imagine this. A woman wakes early, lights her incense with sincerity, places her palms together, and yet the week ahead spirals into conflict. Her child falls ill, her business deals slip away, and her nights are restless. She prays harder, thinking maybe she wasn't devoted enough. But devotion wasn't the issue. Timing was, and she never saw it coming. Have you ever felt that disconnect, where your efforts to create harmony somehow leave you more unsettled than before? What if the rituals you rely on are not wrong in spirit, but misaligned in energy? This video is not about superstition. It's about understanding when your space is open, when it is vulnerable, and how your most sacred practices can either protect your energy or quietly unravel it. If you've ever wondered why your prayers seem unanswered, or why peace never fully settles in your home, this may be the missing piece. Stay with me, and you'll learn not only the 3 crucial times to avoid lighting incense, but how to transform this ancient practice into a source of strength, clarity, and true alignment with the invisible energy that flows through your life. Section 1. Morning misfire, 11 a.m., 1 p.m. When fire energy overloads your intentions. It's easy to believe that daytime is always the best time to do something meaningful. After all, the sun is high, the air is bright, the world feels alive. But here's what most people never consider. Not all brightness is clarity, and not all timing is aligned with harmony. In Feng Shui, energy doesn't just depend on what we do. It depends deeply on when we do it. And one of the most overlooked mistakes is lighting incense or performing spiritual rituals between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. A window that seems harmless, but may be quietly working against your intentions. You might recognize this moment. Maybe you're on your lunch break, the house is calm, you think, let me light some incense, offer a prayer, bring in good energy. It's a habit of peace, or so it seems. Yet somehow after this midday ritual, your afternoon always feels slightly off. You're more irritable. Conversations at home become unexpectedly tense. Decisions you make feel rushed or unclear. You wonder why something meant to ground you now leaves you more scattered. And the truth is, you're not imagining it. In Feng Shui's elemental language, the hours between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. belong to the fire element at its most intense state. This is the peak of yang energy, vibrant, expansive, dominant. It's the moment the sun sits directly overhead, casting little shadow and offering no softness. While fire is associated with inspiration and action, when it's unchecked, it becomes overwhelming, like a spotlight that burns rather than illuminates. Now imagine adding actual fire, incense, flames, heat, into that already inflamed energetic field. You're not balancing energy, you're compounding it. You're throwing fire on fire, turning a calm ritual into an energetic spike that disrupts the very field you're trying to calm. Your altar, if you have one, is a yin-dominant space. It's where stillness resides, where sacred energy gathers like mist, quiet, receptive, subtle. Lighting incense during the noon hours causes a direct elemental clash, yang fire attacking yin serenity. Instead of welcoming spiritual connection, the heat creates agitation. Instead of amplifying your intention, it sends mixed signals through the energetic grid of your home. It's like trying to have a heartfelt conversation on a battlefield. You may speak sincerely, but the chaos drowns out your voice. The consequences ripple out in ways most people don't trace back to that simple act. Tensions in the household rise for no visible reason. Children become more reactive. Partners argue over minor things. Internally, your mind becomes less stable. Your sense of direction fades even as you try to move forward. In the language of energy, fire disperses focus. And in Feng Shui, unanchored fire energy scatters fortune. That's why money seems to come and go without reason. You work harder, but the gains slip through your fingers. It's not bad luck. It's misplaced timing. So what can you do if this time is the only quiet moment in your day? How do you still honor your need for spiritual grounding without triggering an energetic imbalance? The answer lies in balance, not avoidance. Begin by placing a simple glass of water near your incense before lighting it. Water calms fire. This isn't just symbolic, it's elemental alignment. You're not fighting fire, you're softening it. If you have a plant nearby, even better. Wood absorbs and moderates fire, bringing a gentle buffering presence to the space. Choose a cool burning incense, agarwood, sandalwood, nothing too sharp or spicy. And most importantly, adjust your internal fire. If your mind is racing, if your emotions are inflamed, pause, sit, breathe. Let stillness settle before the smoke rises. Because the incense doesn't carry your words, it carries your state of being. For those who share homes with others or work in high-energy environments around noon, consider anchoring your altar with yin-weighted items, a dark cloth, a bowl of salt, a ceramic statue. These offer grounding during high fire periods, and if you must light incense at this hour, light with clarity, not urgency. Do not use this time to ask for anything. Use it to give thanks, to observe, to realign. There's something profoundly transformative when you realize that ritual is not about doing more. It's about doing right. And right, in the Feng Shui sense, often means doing less but with deeper awareness. So the next time you feel the pull to light incense at high noon, pause for just one more breath. Feel the heat in the air, the tension in your chest. Ask yourself not what you want to attract, but what energy you're about to release. Because smoke is memory in motion, and if you ignite it carelessly, it may carry away more than you intended. What would shift in your life if you matched the flame in your hand to the calm within your heart, not the chaos of your schedule? Section 2. The shift between worlds, 5 p.m., 7 p.m. A delicate. We often assume that the early evening, when the day begins to wind down, is a safe time to reconnect spiritually. The house is quieter, work is done, meals are being prepared, and there's a gentle transition in the air. It feels like a peaceful moment to light incense, to offer a thought, a prayer, a breath. But this assumption, however innocent, misses a vital truth in the Feng Shui world. What feels calm on the surface may actually be the most unstable time for your energy field. Between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m., known traditionally as the rooster hours, you're not just lighting incense during twilight. You're lighting it in the middle of an energetic shift between two worlds, and without realizing it, you may be calling in what your heart never intended. It's a scene many people know well. You come home tired, a little overwhelmed from the day's noise and pressure. You light incense hoping to reset, to signal the end of the work cycle and welcome peace. You tell yourself this will clear the air, and yet hours later the air feels heavier. Your partner is unusually quiet. You feel disconnected. There's a subtle weight in the room you can't quite explain. You sleep, but it's shallow. You wake more tired. You try again the next day, but the space never fully softens. This dissonance is not random. It is the direct result of lighting incense during a window of energetic ambiguity. In Feng Shui, this early evening period is a liminal space, a bridge between yang and yin. The light is fading, but the darkness hasn't fully arrived. The world is in flux. Shadows stretch, but don't fully settle. The natural field is adjusting. And in that adjustment, the boundaries between energies are thin. Spiritually speaking, this is the moment when doors are open just wide enough to confuse intention. Your smoke, no matter how sincere, doesn't move cleanly in one direction. It spreads sideways, it diffuses, and what enters your home in return may not be what you were seeking. The symbolism in this is profound. Imagine your prayer as a boat setting sail. In the clear morning, the water is still, the destination reachable. At midnight, the water is deep and predictable in its stillness. But in twilight, the current shifts mid-course. It's unclear which way the wind is blowing. And that uncertainty doesn't just affect the path of your prayer, it affects the clarity of your own energy field. Elementally, this hour is associated with metal energy, sharp, refined, but also cold and brittle when unbalanced. As the sun's fire dims and Earth's stability fades, yin begins to rise, but without yet grounding fully. That means your space, if left unsupported, becomes a floating frequency, neither held by light nor shielded by darkness. Incense smoke in this fragile zone doesn't have a solid current to follow. It can linger, collect in corners, and unintentionally act like a net, catching wandering thoughts, residual stress, and even subtle spiritual interference. And what are the real-life consequences? They're quiet, but consistent. Your home may begin to feel emotionally distant. People in the house feel more disconnected even though they're present. Communication drops into shallow exchanges. Arguments might not be explosive, but they feel cold. Financially, you may notice small delays, payments that don't arrive, clients who cancel, plans that feel uncertain. The biggest danger, however, is not the visible symptoms. It's the invisible numbing of your inner compass. You stop hearing your instincts. You second-guess your own decisions. You feel emotionally heavy but can't explain why. Fortunately, this mistake is one of the easiest to correct, not by force but by awareness and gentle design. Start with light. Before lighting any incense at this hour, open the curtains. Let the last sunlight in. Even if it's weak, natural light during twilight acts like a bridge. It helps carry your energy across the fading boundary with more direction. If natural light isn't available, add a warm lamp near your sacred space. Light here is not aesthetic, it is energetic framing. Next, add grounding elements nearby, not directly on the altar, but close. A small potted plant can add the wood element, which softens metal. A bowl of clean water brings fluidity and flow, helping keep energy from sticking. If possible, include a small crystal or smooth stone, something tactile that holds and stabilizes energy. These items aren't decorative. They are structural anchors in an hour when your energy needs direction. When lighting incense, keep the intention light. This is not a time for major prayers, heavy requests, or emotional processing. Think of it as a moment to recenter, not to ask. Let the smoke represent a soft exhale, not a bold declaration. A simple sentence is enough. May the energy of this home settle into harmony. Speak with humility, not urgency. Your words will reach farther if they come from stillness. And if you feel resistance, if the air feels thick or your body feels closed, wait. Don't light incense out of habit. Ritual done in confusion becomes ritual lost in the fog. If you've already lit incense and sensed the energy off, gently wave the smoke away from the altar. Open a window slightly. Let the stale shift. Even small movements at this hour can carry weight. In the architecture of time, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. is like a hallway without clear doors. Don't leave your intentions wandering there. Guide them gently. Frame them carefully. Offer them not with force, but with finesse. And next time you reach for incense at twilight, ask yourself, are you bringing light into the room, or hoping the smoke will find its own way through the dark. Section 3. Nighttime invitations, 11 p.m., 1 a.m., when the door is open the widest. Most people think of nighttime as the perfect moment for quiet rituals. The world is still, distractions fade, and there's finally space to breathe. So they light incense just before sleep, believing the silence makes their intentions stronger. But what they don't realize is that this very moment, from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m., is when the spiritual veil is thinnest and the doorway between realms swings widest open. In this hour, the smoke doesn't just rise, it travels. And sometimes it doesn't come back alone. You've probably seen this before, maybe even in your own home. Someone lights incense near midnight, gently bows, perhaps makes a wish for protection, healing, or release. The act is sincere, the setting quiet. But not long after, strange things begin to happen. Dreams become disturbed, sleep feels shallow, children wake crying, or you feel a presence in the room that wasn't there before. It doesn't feel evil, just heavy, like something unseen is watching, listening, maybe even lingering. In the wisdom of Feng Shui and traditional energy theory, this hour belongs to pure yin. It is the deepest point of the night, the energetic midnight, not just by the clock, but in the natural flow of Kai. Yang, which protects, defends, and circulates energy, is at its lowest ebb. The warmth of the sun is long gone. The life force around the home has receded to rest. What remains is yin in full command, quiet, vast, receptive, and highly absorbent. Yin is not bad, it is essential, but without the balancing presence of yang, it becomes too open. The energy field of your home is no longer selective, it receives everything. And incense, a ritual tool that opens portals and sends signals, becomes a beacon in this vast, energetic stillness. From the 5 elements perspective, the rat hour belongs to water, deep, internal, reflective, emotional. But water also represents the unknown, the hidden, the mysterious. When incense is lit during this time, it aligns with the element of water, but without grounding or fire to steer it. The smoke acts like a silent whisper into the dark, one that says, "I'm open." And what hears that call isn't always what you had in mind. The consequences may begin subtly. Night after night, your sleep quality erodes. You wake feeling tired, even though you rested for hours. Tension builds in the home, but no one can quite explain why. You may begin to experience a sense of internal fog. Intuition weakens, decision-making feels shaky, and fear creeps in at random times. For families, you'll notice a rise in nighttime anxiety, especially with children. They wake crying, they cling more, they speak of dreams or people that seem imaginary, but their fear is real. In terms of wealth and fortune, this habit quietly disrupts your energetic reset cycle. Prosperity needs clarity, space, and light. But incense burned during high yin hours can saturate your living space with the very opposite: residue, echoes, spiritual clutter. The fix isn't complex, but it does require respect. If you've already formed a habit of burning incense at night, especially during these hours, begin by clearing the air. Literally. After any late-night ritual, crack a window. Just slightly. Allow fresh air to enter. In Feng Shui, air movement represents yang returning. It carries out what no longer serves. Even 5 minutes of gentle airflow can reset what incense may have drawn in. Next, introduce saltwater purification. A small bowl of water with a pinch of sea salt, placed near your altar or wherever the incense was burned, acts as a sponge for invisible static. Salt is grounding, water is absorptive. Together, they anchor energy and offer closure to rituals that may otherwise leave the space open-ended. In the morning, throw the water away, never keep it. What it holds is not meant to remain. If incense must be burned during these hours, perhaps due to a cultural tradition or urgent prayer, shift the ritual. Make it short. Make it intentional. Use agar wood or sandalwood, both of which have a deep but stabilizing effect. Avoid anything too intense. Sit calmly, speak softly. This is not a time for elaborate requests. It is a time for offerings of peace, gratitude, or surrender, and always close the space after. Whisper a closing line, fold your palms, and gently wave the energy downward, not outward. More importantly, observe your internal state before lighting incense at night. Are you calm or carrying emotional residue from the day? Are you grounded or restless? In high yin hours, your emotional field merges with your spatial field. If you're chaotic inside, that frequency is carried by the smoke and etched into the walls of your home. That's why some homes feel haunted without ever having ghosts. The haunting comes from stored vibrations, especially those left unresolved in the deep night. You don't need fear, you need awareness. Nighttime can be beautiful, a sacred hour of return, of silence, of soft reconnection with spirit. But it requires more mindfulness than we often give it. In ancient times, monks, sages, and spiritual practitioners would use this time for silent contemplation, not for ritual action. They understood that silence itself was the highest offering in the yin hours. So tonight, before you reach for the incense stick, pause, touch your own chest, listen to the quiet, ask yourself gently, is my energy ready to open a door, or do I need to simply close the day and rest? Because in the deep yin of night, what you invite in will not always knock. Sometimes it just follows the trail of smoke. Section 4. How to know if you've been burning incense wrong all along. You may think you're doing everything right, lighting incense regularly, offering prayers with sincerity, keeping your altar arranged with care. But what if the incense you've been lighting with the intention of attracting peace has quietly been doing the opposite? What if the very act you believed was protecting your energy has been subtly disrupting it instead? It's not about how often you light the incense. It's about the state of being behind the flame, and most people have never been taught to look there. Here's a common scene: you're stressed. The day didn't go well. You had a disagreement with someone you love, or your finances hit a snag, or you're simply emotionally exhausted. You head to your altar or sacred space and instinctively reach for the incense. You strike the match, breathe deeply, and hope the act alone will reset the mood, cleanse the energy, or invite good luck. But an hour later, you feel heavier. The air feels stuffy. Maybe you feel emotional for no clear reason. Or your mind begins to race as the smoke rises. And you wonder, why don't I feel better? In Feng Shui, incense is more than a fragrance. It's a messenger, a carrier of intention, and an activator of space. When you burn it, you're not just adding scent, you're triggering movement in the energetic field of your home. The rising smoke doesn't merely go upward, it carries with it whatever you are holding inside. Your thoughts, emotions, fears, prayers, and unresolved vibrations. And if the inner energy behind the action is chaotic, anxious, or clouded, the incense will amplify that frequency, not neutralize it. What was meant to bring calm becomes a subtle echo of restlessness spread throughout the room. From an elemental perspective, incense belongs to the fire element, transformative, purifying, activating. Fire in Feng Shui is sacred, but it's also volatile. It doesn't discriminate. If you offer it clarity, it rises with grace. But if you feed it confusion, it disperses that confusion throughout your space. That's why burning incense out of habit, or worse, from a place of emotional distress, can lead to imbalanced energy patterns that build over time. It's the energetic equivalent of broadcasting static into a space that was already struggling to remain clear. What happens when this mistake repeats? The signs begin quietly but grow louder. You feel tired in rooms that once gave you peace. Your mind struggles to focus. You light more incense, thinking more is better, but instead you feel like you're chasing clarity that never quite arrives. Spiritually, you become disconnected from your own practice, going through the motions without true presence. Relationships may feel strained, not from conflict, but from emotional distance. Financially, you may notice goals that once flowed now feel stuck, or that no matter how hard you try, small mishaps keep occurring, quietly eroding your confidence. This isn't coincidence. It's what happens when ritual becomes reactive rather than intentional. So how do you know if you've been doing it wrong? Ask yourself this. Do I light incense only when I'm feeling lost or desperate, hoping it will fix the energy for me? Do I burn incense without clearing the space or my own mind first? Do I light it quickly, while distracted or emotionally overwhelmed? Does my space feel heavier after a ritual instead of lighter? If you answered yes to any of those, it's not a failure, it's a signal, a gentle one, a call to return to the essence of ritual, not just the form. The shift begins with awareness. The next time you feel the urge to light incense, stop for a moment. Sit down, close your eyes, ask yourself, not what you want, but what you are feeling. If your mind is restless, if your chest is tight, let that be the incense first. Breathe it through, let stillness rise. Then when you do reach for the incense, do it slowly. Mindfully, choose your incense with clarity. Hold it like you're holding a message, not a tool. Light it with the reverence of beginning a conversation, not just performing a gesture. And most importantly, let your energy settle before the smoke begins to rise. You don't need complicated techniques. You need presence. You don't need more rituals. You need one clear one. Lighting incense is not about filling your home with scent. It's about aligning the field you live in with the truth of who you are in that moment. That truth, when expressed calmly and cleanly, becomes a tuning fork, and the space responds. Over time, this shift transforms not just your space, but your relationship with it. You begin to feel when your home needs stillness instead of scent, when your altar needs silence instead of action, when your own body needs grounding before intention. That's when incense returns to its true power, not as a performance, but as a reflection. And in that reflection, energy clears, fortune flows, and your inner landscape begins to breathe again. So the question is no longer, have you been lighting incense the right way? The question is, when the smoke rises, what is it carrying from you and what is it calling in? Section 5. The right way to light incense without needing complex rules. Most people think the more incense you light, the more blessings you invite. They worry about how many sticks, which brand, what direction, what mantra. But here's the quiet truth that very few are told. It's not the incense that changes your energy. It's the clarity of the energy behind it. A single stick, lit with a calm and focused mind, does far more for your space than 5 sticks burned from habit, fear, or confusion. And in Feng Shui, the power of a ritual never lies in how complicated it is, but in how intentional you are. Take a familiar scene. Someone rushes through their day, feeling drained, frustrated, and overwhelmed. The home is noisy, thoughts are racing, and emotions are tangled. They reach for incense not as a moment of connection, but as a way to fix something, to push the bad out, to pull the good in. They light it quickly, barely pause, and walk away, assuming the smoke will do the work. Later, the space still feels unsettled. The air lingers heavy. The incense becomes just another background detail in a house that feels slightly off, and they don't know why. In Feng Shui terms, this kind of ritual lacks centered qi. The incense as an object belongs to the fire element, used to activate space, to carry thought upward, to transform vibration. But fire, when unleashed without balance, doesn't purify, it agitates. And when that fire is not paired with intention from metal structure, water, emotion, wood, growth, or earth, stability, the ritual becomes empty motion. The act does not harmonize the home. It stirs unsettled frequencies without direction. That's why, over time, you might feel emotionally exhausted even in a space where incense is burned daily. That's why tension builds even when you're doing all the right things. So how do you return to the essence? The simplest way is to remember that incense is not a magic wand. It's a mirror. It reflects your internal state into your environment. And that means the right way to light incense begins long before you hold the stick. It begins in the breath. Before anything else, pause, sit in front of your altar or the area where you normally light incense. Don't touch anything yet. Just observe, is your chest tight? Are your thoughts rushing? Are you coming to the ritual from a place of peace or a place of pressure? You don't need to judge, just notice. If the answer is stress, take a few slow breaths before doing anything else. Sometimes the most powerful act is not lighting the incense at all, but allowing your own energy to settle first. This is where true Feng Shui begins, in alignment between you and your space. Next, consider how many sticks you're using. There's no need to follow strict dogma, but understanding the meaning helps you act with purpose. One stick. A personal intention, a simple offering of clarity, peace, or gratitude. Ideal for daily rituals or quiet alignment. 3 sticks, invoking balance among heaven, earth, and humanity, or mind, body, and spirit. This is used when seeking harmony in family or work rela. 5 sticks, a full energetic reset representing the 5 elements. Use this only during major transitions, cleansing, or new beginnings, not as a daily habit. Avoid even numbers, especially 2 or 4 sticks. In energetic symbolism, even numbers emphasize yin, passive, closed, contracted. An altar space already holds yin by nature. Adding more yin weakens vitality, blurs direction, and can cause the ritual to become energetically stagnant. Always aim for odd numbers to keep the energy dynamic and in motion. As you hold the incense in your hand, bring your focus to intention. What are you truly offering? Not what you want, but what you are willing to release. In Feng Shui, offering is not about asking, it's about aligning. You are not begging the universe. You are syncing your field with its natural rhythm. Speak your prayer or whisper it internally, but make sure it's clear. May my home be a place of peace. I release today's tension and choose clarity. That's enough. The words are less important than the state you speak them from. Then light the incense. Do it slowly. Watch the flame. Let it burn long enough to glow, then gently extinguish it without rushing. Allow the smoke to rise like a thread of connection, not a distraction. Let your breath follow it. If the room is dim, consider having soft lighting or a candle nearby. Don't leave the incense to burn alone in a cold, dark space. Energy needs context. It needs warmth to respond to. Once the incense is burning, don't walk away immediately. Stay. Let it infuse the space. Let it pass through your field. Let the scent meet the corners of the room, not as a cleansing agent, but as a carrier of presence. This is the point where Feng Shui becomes felt, not just understood. You begin to notice your shoulders drop, your chest loosens. A softening comes over the room, not from the smoke, but from your own awareness reconnecting with the environment. To anchor this ritual, close it with a small act of grounding. Wipe the table. Straighten a cushion. Replace the water on the altar. These simple gestures complete the energy circuit. In Feng Shui, every beginning needs a closure. Just like incense needs air to rise, it needs form to return. And if you want to take this deeper, create a small rhythm. Light incense only during 2 windows of the day: early morning, 5 am 9 a.m. for activating yang, and evening, 7 p.m. 9 p.m. for softening into yin. Avoid randomness. The universe responds to rhythm. In the end, the right way to light incense has nothing to do with elaborate rituals or ancient chants. It has everything to do with your awareness, your energy, and your presence. You are not lighting something outside yourself. You are lighting the inner field of intention and allowing it to move through your space with grace. So next time you hold that small stick of incense, ask yourself, not just what you're lighting, but what you're offering back into the flow of your life. Is it habit or is it harmony? This isn't just about incense. It's about the way you touch the invisible. This wasn't just a video about incense. It was a quiet return to something far more intimate. The way we shape our energy through the smallest habits we barely notice. Because lighting incense is never just about scent. It is a gesture, a signal, a doorway. And depending on the state of your mind, the timing of your hand, and the space you offer it, it can either bring in light or quietly cloud the room. What we explored wasn't a checklist of mistakes. It was a deeper truth about rhythm and resonance. About how the world moves in cycles, and so do we. And when we light incense without listening to that rhythm, whether it's during midday fire, evening transition, or deep night, we're not just lighting a stick. We're activating imbalance, not intentionally, of course, but from habit, from thinking that ritual alone brings meaning rather than realizing that it is presence that makes a ritual sacred. So perhaps now, instead of asking, how often should I light incense? The better question is, what kind of energy am I offering when I do? Is it stillness or stress? Is it gratitude or grasping? When incense becomes another task, it loses its soul. But when it's treated as a mirror, as a way to see where we really are, then it becomes what it was always meant to be: a bridge between our mind and the moment, between the visible and the invisible, between who we are and who we're becoming. Maybe tonight you'll walk past your incense box and pause, not out of guilt but awareness. Maybe you'll sit for a moment longer. Maybe you'll touch the table and feel whether it's ready to carry your intention. Maybe you'll begin to notice how the air feels before the smoke ever rises. And maybe you'll ask, not with words but with stillness, what if the way I light the world around me is simply a reflection of how I hold the flame within?